What do you have the balls to do? Would you jump out of an airplane, quit your job, or profess your love for a longtime friend? Maybe a better question is, what don't you have the balls to do? What are all of the things you wish you can do or say, but don't? How many times a day are you holding back? Personally, this number isn't very high. I am constantly saying what is on my mind. A couple of years ago, I was at an NHL hockey game, and the boys in front of me were calling the players pussies. And not just one time, they were repeat offenders. It's worth noting that they were rooting for the opposing team, but they would call out things like, "You bunch of pussies," "Take that, you pussy," "Yeah, you didn't make that shot, pussy." So, when the opportunity to call them out arose, it was my turn to take a shot. At the end of the period, we locked eyes, and when I knew I was reaching the depths of their soul, I said, "My pussy is stronger than you'll ever be. Shut the fuck up." Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I am a whopping 5 feet tall and weigh about as much as a Rottweiler. So for now, I'll let you imagine how the rest of the conversation went. The point is, I had the pussy to reclaim my pussy for all its strength and glory, for its ability to bear life and spit it out, to be the genesis of the miracle that is existence. The reason why we can all be listening to this talk. Balls, on the other hand, flinch at the sight of a challenge. The temperature drops and balls literally shrink for safety. Yet, we talk about balls like they're the reason the human race is standing. What do you have the balls to do? Well, that's not a very deep question anymore, is it? Now I can anticipate someone saying, "Juliana, it's not that big of a deal." But it is. My anatomy is used interchangeably with the words weak, lesser than, or just bad, while the male anatomy is trophied with a definition of strength, courage, and moxie. The implications of this seemingly subtle phenomena are only one symptom of toxic masculinity. Because, let's be honest, no one wants to use the word pussy in public to talk about vaginas. Like right now, I bet that half of you are flinching in your seats just listening to me say the word pussy. And I know that you're begging me not to say the word cunt either. Then we would be talking serious business. Cunt holds more power than pussy does. We know that it's okay to hear the words pussy and cunt in porn or at hockey games. But if we have to talk about the legitimacy of being a pussy owner, the legitimacy of bloody bedsheets and period cramps, of sexist coworkers and catcallers, of our fear of walking home alone at night or traumatic nights in frat house basements, bars, classrooms, places of work, well, then the conversation is shut down. What we say matters. Right now, the words I'm saying are creating ideas, thoughts, and opinions in your head, and the impact that words have on the feminist movement is important. Now I know what you're thinking. Here she goes using the F word. Fucking feminism. So before I go any further, let me tell you that the definition of feminism is just gender equality. It's about an even playing field, equal pay, and non-negotiable mutual respect for our bodies, careers, and life choices. It's about reparations for women of color, acknowledgement and love for trans women, and a long overdue call to action that prioritizes anyone with a vagina. It's about teaching kids from a young age that there is no superior or inferior gender, sex, or body. Now, it's proven that words shape our reality. Think about affirmations. I have a mantra. My value is not attached to my productivity. I have bountiful success. When you believe in yourself, despite your flaws and failures, inherent happiness is more achievable. Because when you accept your entirety, insecurity is less likely to get in your way. On the contrary, if you are always talking about your downfalls, the reasons why you can't succeed or can't be loved, then you will be the person standing in the way of your smiles. And I understand. This isn't easy when you've been listening to a lifetime of negative self-talk or experienced trauma. But reclaiming that headspace to be filled with positive value and encouragement is a skill that turns to truth. The same goes for reclaiming our vocabulary outside of the self. So when we use words that throw shade to, negatively portray, or denounce womanhood, we are inherently bringing life to that cause. And let me be clear in this. Womanhood is not exclusive to cisgender females. Now, the word pussy is not the only word in need of reclamation. Am I right, bitches? At the end of the night, out with my greatest friends, an outstanding "I love you, bitches" blows up my phone. This is what we love to hear. These are my people, my bitches. So when is it not okay to call someone a bitch? Simply any time you are using it as an insult. If, for example, we replace the word pussy for the word bitch that night at the hockey game, the intent of those statements would stay the same. You bunch of pussies, you bunch of bitches. Yeah, you didn't make that shot, you pussy. Yeah, you didn't make that shot, you bitch. The words pussy and bitch suffer from the same problem, meaning they have been defined, claimed, and shaped by the male gaze. They have been used as a tool to mobilize toxic masculinity, and because we have endowed them with a double meaning, we are left with an open opportunity to gaslight pussy owners out of the severity of the ways their bodies can be connected to negative connotations. That night at Madison Square Garden, those boys looked me right in the eye and said, "We didn't say that. You heard us wrong." And when it was clear I would not budge, their last rebuttal was, "We didn't mean it like that." But they did. They were just caught, and guilt has a funny way of following denial, so they took their opportunity to gaslight me into thinking that it was not a big deal that my body was being thrown around in the middle of New York City to describe failure on an ice rink. The patriarchy thrives off of the minute details that secure its power. Don't be a Debbie Downer, and don't get your panties in a twist. Keyword Debbie, keyword panties. Most obviously, every device that serves us is given a female voice. Alexa, can you play this song? Alexa, call dad. Alexa, schedule this meeting. Alexa, go. Alexa, play. Alexa, stop. Damn it, Alexa, shut up. There is a constant need to attach the negative to feminine, and it's not just men who abuse the shit out of these words. Internalized misogyny is real. From a young age, women are taught to be in constant competition with each other over things like appearance, material items, and of course, over one thing that often feels more valuable than gold: attention. Which is not to say that the desire for attention is wrong. Quite the opposite. The desire to feel seen, wanted, and heard is human. What's wrong is the way we are pit against each other. We might not always admit it, but we have all been caught guilty of calling that other girl a bitch or cunt out of pure jealousy, spite, or anger. You might even go as far as to call her a whore, as if sex work is not real work, as if sex work is as demeaning as men want us to believe it is, which is ironic, considering that porn is a multi-billion-dollar earning industry. Yet, we talk about sex workers like they do not belong in society, like their work does not serve us or goes against the grain of our experience. The biggest sin is that we talk about sex workers like they're nothing else. They are not properly protected by law, which makes the industry scary, hard, and high risk. Sex work is work. And to call each other whores out of petty spite, anger, or ego is insulting to sex workers, their legitimacy, and their humanity. But we have been trained to be active participants in a male-dominated society. It wants us to feel that way. It wants us to feel shame for our bodies outside of their gaze and to give it away when they decide it's time to feast. To pit woman against woman, to use the word bitch like steel-tongue armor, to use the word pussy at any sign of emotion, sensitivity, or a glimpse of failure, as if those things that make us human are reserved for people with pussies and are therefore inherently weak. Male-dominated societies like ours use vocabulary to gaslight, shame, divide, and conquer women, and I know you'll believe me when I tell you it isn't always subtle, silent, or passive. Abuse, trauma, and depression are nuanced. Sometimes it whispers, and sometimes it's screaming. You stupid ass bitch. You flirted with that guy at the bar. I saw you. You dumb cunt. You're a fucking whore. You belong to me. Only to later insist that this is love. I just love you so much. I can't bear to see you with anyone else. I love you. Believe me, it won't happen again. The patriarchy is manipulative and conniving, and most of all, hungry. It has played savior over and over again and is a professional at creating Stockholm Syndrome. But there is no savior who creates trauma, who thrives off of power and ego. We are our own saviors. We decide when we're ready to forgive and forget, change and grow. When someone lends you a hand, lifts you up, it's called being a friend. It's called love. It's called compassion and empathy. We can choose to be those things every single day. Loving, compassionate, and empathetic. In fact, no one deserves that treatment more than you do. Be kind to yourself as you learn new things that make you flinch or burn. This is what neuroplasticity is for. We can literally change the hardware of our brains to learn new habits, processes, and practices. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to form and reorganize connections in response to learning and experience. In this case, we can use our neuroplasticity to learn how toxic verbiage insults all pussies. I'm not here to shame you. I, too, have contributed to the toxicity that hands power to men. To be honest, we will continue to do so for a long time because even with our newfound and ever-growing awareness, learning is hard. Debatably, unlearning is harder. Challenging ourselves to sit in the discomfort of our lessons is what turns them into habits and later into thoughts, beliefs, and passions. This mass unlearning is something we can all be a part of, and there are goals we can work towards every single day to change even the most passive parts of sexism. The first goal is accountability. When you call that girl a bitch because she hurt you, even if she hurt you bad, let the light bulb go on. When you call him a pussy for not chugging that extra beer with you, let the light bulb go on. When you call her a whore for putting her body in display in that outfit, and you know what outfit I'm talking about, let the light bulb go on. Challenge yourself and challenge others. Don't be a bystander in the name of your ego. People are mean, selfish, and insecure, but they aren't bitches. People are weak, people fail, and people cheat. But they aren't pussies, cunts, or whores. They're human. And so are you. Noticing our own humanity is what will allow us to have grace in the face of our own hurt. And when you slip up, catch yourself and take note. Embrace that aha moment. The second goal is reclamation. For people with vaginas, this means owning that accountability I just talked about, addressing your pussy positively and as you see fit, and offering support for all of your bitches. However, let me be clear in this. Cisgender men are not in the position to redefine words that they have corrupted. They are in the position to double up on accountability and call each other out. So that while we're out there reclaiming our pussies, men are out there defending them. This means speaking up for sex workers, listening to survivors of sexual assault, and believing victims of physical and emotional domestic violence. The third goal is empowerment. Fight for our equal pay, our reproductive rights, and for our voices to be heard. Every time you think of giving balls the honor of a positive connotation, think of what else you can say. For every time you think of giving women and their bodies a negative connotation, think of what else you can say. Give pussies and their owners the attention they deserve for spitting you out into this world. My bitches, stand up for each other, support each other, and elevate each other's voices. The words pussy, bitch, cunt, and whore are only curse words because men let them be, but they don't have to be anymore. By redefining some of the most notably unacceptable words in the English vocabulary, you are helping to work towards a future where sexism and misogyny no longer thrive. Before I close, I want to congratulate you for sitting through the discomfort of this talk, which is not to get confused with an apology for your discomfort. Discomfort is a great way to measure growth, and I'm not sorry for doing my small part to achieve a more equitable future. But you sat through about 15 minutes of listening to me say words that are not the most acceptable for a woman to use, especially in this context. I want you to know that I was not raised to use these words, let alone reclaim them by reciting them on a stage. I grew up with an understanding that words like cunt are just as horrible as they're making you feel right now. But by the end of this talk, you'll have heard me say the word pussy 31 times. Maybe you might have flinched or got angry or uncomfortable, but now we know that we're growing and that we're growing together. Thank you.